Hey guys, welcome to week 8 of creative writing, and this week we're going to talk about how to write dialogue, that is, the exact words that your characters say. So to get started, let's go over what your assignment's going to be. This week I want you to write me a comic strip to start off with. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this video and in your file to a template for a comic strip. I want you to write me a comic strip, draw out the action, have conversation between your characters, just like a comic strip does, and then I want you to take that comic strip and turn it into a story. So you're going to then write out the action and keep the conversation as dialogue in your story. So I want you to start off on day 1 brainstorming your characters, your setting, and your plot. You can use a story you've already written. You can use a story or characters that you've already used before, or you can come up with something completely new. It's totally up to you, but you come up with your characters and your setting, and then I want you to turn them into a comic strip. Come up with a problem: man versus man, man versus nature, man versus society, or man versus self. Think of a problem your character can have and how to solve it, and then write that story or write that comic strip and then that story. So day 1, you're going to brainstorm and write your comic strip. Day 2, you're going to write your rough draft of your story using dialogue, exact quotes according to the rules I'll give you in a minute. Day 3, you're going to edit and revise, make sure you did all your quotes the way that you're supposed to, and day 4, your final draft. So let's get started on how to write your dialogue when you get there. Writing dialogue. If you want to tell me who said it right off the bat and then give me their quote, this is how you would do it. You start with a capital letter, just like any other sentence. So you would say, she said, comma. Always put a comma before your quote begins. Then your quote, and begin your quote with a capital letter as well because it's the beginning of a sentence. So she said, comma, quote, I like to eat ice cream after swim practice, period, end quote. Your punctuation always goes inside your quotes, never outside. So always keep your period inside, or your question mark or your exclamation point inside your quotes. Now, if you want to tell me who said it after their quote, you would do it the same way. You would start with your quote and then your capital letter because it's the beginning of a sentence. I like to eat ice cream after swim practice. Now, when the sentence, the quote ends in a period, you don't use a period here. You use a comma and then, of course, your quote because your question goes inside your quote. If this were a question like, do you like to eat ice cream? Or an exclamation like, I like to eat ice cream, then you would put here a question mark or an exclamation point and then your quote. But if it's a period and you're going to say, she said after the quote, then it's a comma inside your quote. She said, not capitalized because it's the continuation of the sentence, and then your period because it's the end of the sentence. Now, if you want to tell me who said it in the middle of their quote, it would look like this. Again, quote, capital letter, beginning of the sentence. I like to eat ice cream after swim practice. Now, your sentence isn't over, so you're going to put a comma here to show that the sentence is going to continue, and then your end quote. The comma always goes inside the quote. She mentioned, and again, your comma before the quote begins again. So quote, and. Now, you don't capitalize here because this is the continuation of the sentence, not the beginning. So, and relax before I go home. Again, period inside the end of the quote. Always your punctuation inside the end of the quote. Now, one more thing you need to know about quoting. When you have more than one speaker speaking, you need to keep them in separate paragraphs. So start a new paragraph when a new character begins to speak. Never have multiple characters speaking in the same paragraph. So here's a good example. I like to eat ice cream after swim practice, she said. New paragraph. Me too, proclaimed John. You don't keep the same paragraph, you start a new one with a new speaker. So this week, write me a comic strip, turn it into a story, and turn that in. I look forward to reading all of them and look forward to seeing y'all next week. Have a great week.